think you guys got the injuries for today. We'll be inside. Quite a bit of rain out there on those fields. Big challenge this week. This is a game that went down to the wire there in week 2. This team plays everybody tight. Their scores have been within one score except for one at Baltimore. The last time they were in their building, they won by 8. So I think it's a really good football team. I know they're well coached. You look at them across the board on offense and defense. I think they have a bunch of playmakers. On defense, there's a few guys that are in and a few guys that are out, but by and large, it's should be a similar scheme that we faced, but it's a really good scheme. They threw every front imaginable at us last time, so we got to be ready and on our toes. On our defensive side, obviously big challenge with this offense. Quarterback's playing really well. Weapons at running back, tight end, wide receiver, guys that can touch it and go. Good special teams. I thought we got to really compete in the special teams area this week. So big challenge going on the road versus a division opponent. With that, I will take any questions.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go to Jake Trotter for first one.
Yeah, hey, Kevin. During the offseason, Baker admitted to losing a little bit of his confidence last season. I think he even used the phrase that he even doubted himself at times. What do you have to do to make sure that does not happen this season, especially after a game like the one in Pittsburgh?
I think we're just all focused, Jake, on getting back out there and playing our brand of football. I think we're all ready to get out here in the practice field and it's the fun part of the rhythm of this season and the rhythm of the week. You get to focus all of your energies on the given day. So I think all of our guys are looking forward to working this week and then being able to put our best foot forward on Sunday.
Zach Jackson has our next question.
Coach, just curious, when you play a team second time in a month, does that significantly change your preparation, your self-scouting, things like that this week, or do you stop short of saying something?
Yeah, it's not that unusual to play guys this close. I've been around where you play them almost back-to-back weeks, and you basically game plan once, and you just carry that next one with you to the next game. But they have a couple guys out of the lineup from the last time we played, and as do we. So they'll have some wrinkles for us. We'll have some wrinkles for them. But there's definitely some familiarity. The quality control guys have less tape to break down. That's one thing that's different.
Greg Greetham, you have our next question.
Coach, we saw that Ronnie Harrison's coming back. I assume Carl Joseph's going to practice as well. Can you talk about maybe getting one or both those guys back this week, what that can do for your defense?
Yeah, Fred, I think, last time Ronnie was in the lineup, obviously had a big play in that ball game. So we're looking for guys that can make plays on defense and get that rock, and Ronnie's done it. Carl's played at a high level for us. So I think we're fortunate in that we've played a lot of guys early in this season already due to injury, which is not ideal, but guys are getting a lot of reps, and we're comfortable with playing guys back there. And if guys their numbers called, they have a baseline of reps to work off of.
Thank you.
Next up is Scott Petrick.
Hey, Kevin, I know you talk about not riding the wave, but is it hard at all not to make changes or overreact after a loss like Sunday?
I don't want to overreact or underreact. I just want to properly react. So I promise we're trying to get one game better.
And you and Baker both said he would do more this week. Do you expect him to still be limited today? Is he going to throw during practice this week as opposed to last week?
He'll throw. He'll be limited, but not to the extent he was last week.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Scott. We'll go to Mary Kay Cabot next.
Hey, Coach, I'm just wondering, when you look at the way, you talked a lot about this past game, how you felt that you did not call the game the way that you needed to get Baker protected, the way you wish you would have. So my question is, as you've gone through and you've gotten to know, you guys didn't have an off season, as you've gone through each week and you've gotten to know Baker and his skill set more, is it just continuing to be sort of a work in progress for you? And now, like, for instance, do you have to find ways to scheme it up so that, when he gets hemmed in and he's in the pocket, you guys have to, figure out ways to help him be more effective? And, just how has this been playing out for you as you learn him?
Yeah, I think it's a fair question, Mary Kay, but I would say we're really doing that for every position. I think towards our offensive line, certain things that those guys do well, we're going to increase certain schemes or maybe not do certain schemes that we thought might make sense. So, but as it relates to Baker, I think I'm learning about him each week. He's learning about me, how I call the game. I think that's just the natural evolution of an NFL season. And your offense does go through an evolution. You do start to, you figure out you're good at one thing, and then you got to protect that thing so the defense doesn't always know it's coming out of a certain personnel or a certain formation. So there's a very real evolution that goes on, I think, in every NFL offense throughout a season.
Thank you.
Next up is Jeff Shadell.
Hey, Kevin, I have two questions. One, do you see Joe Burrow specifically doing anything better than he did 5 weeks ago?
Nothing specific comes to mind, Jeff. No. I mean, he's a very, very good player, but nothing specifically comes to mind.
Okay, then the second one was you mentioned you were unhappy with a kick return in that Pittsburgh game. Would you make a Donovan Peoples-Jones change him out, or do you have any changes that might be made there?
I think we talk through those type of things, Jeff, as a coaching staff, but it's never, ever a one-man issue when you're talking about offense, defense, or special teams. We all have to play better. I've said it before, we all have to coach better.
Thanks, Jeff. Next up is Ellis Williams.
Hey, Coach. Early in the second quarter on the broadcast, it sounded like Baker was using a similar snap count, a similar cadence. There were 3 plays specifically, one a 2nd and 4 play action. The corner blitz kind of got him in the backfield. Conklin had us hold, and then that early jump on Baker's second interception. How do you guys plan on altering that? Is something you work on in the game or talk about during practice? Is that something that Baker just needs to have a better sense of? What is that conversation like between you two?
Yeah, Ellis, that's something that we work on during the week, and that's one area that I have to do a much better job, varying those snap counts, not letting teams time it up, getting the play in quickly so we can line up and we're not up against the clock, because that's one way to jump for the defenses. They're just staring at that play clock. So that's if that's one of those areas that I know I can do a better job at.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ellis. Next up is Nate Ulrich.
Hey, Kevin, with Teller sitting out today, do you think you're still at least a week away from getting him back?
Yeah, it's those injuries are hard. He's trying. I don't like to rule guys out, especially a guy like Wyatt, but he's pushing hard. It's going to be hard though.
And is Hubbard still the next man up there at right guard?
Yes.
And what is the offensive line? We've asked you a lot since Sunday about how good they've been and how it was so rough. But what's the emphasis for that group and looking like the number one rushing attack again? Because you guys have been able to really set the tone, that way throughout most of the year.
Yeah, I think we look at it, got a plan this week, and it's specific to the defense we're facing. I think the charge this week is understanding the front that they're in, because they play multiple fronts. So I know already there's been a lot of meeting time already, some field work during this walkthrough, getting to understand these guys. But it's just a matter of getting back out there, Nate, and making sure we're being who we are.
Tony Grossi, will go to you.
Hey, Kevin, when Baker was asked what's the mood in the building, he said 4-2's never felt like 0-6 before. And that kind of conflicts with your, one game, it's a long season mentality. Do you think that's because of the criticism he's absorbing that he feels like that?
Yeah, I don't know specifically to what Baker was referring. Maybe he felt the mood on the Zoom call, maybe. But I can promise you in here, we're ready to go. We're ready to put the work in to try and go 1-0. And I think it was Parcells who said, "You are what your record says you are."
Right. And the other thing is this team and this town isn't used to being 4-2 in recent times. And you might have in your past. Does it change the urgency of each game, knowing that every game counts and tiebreakers, even this early in the season?
No, Tony, it really doesn't. And you can't lose sight of what it felt like in week 2 and what it felt like in week 3 and what it felt like in week 4. These games just keep coming at you. And that's the fun part of it. It's a challenge. The guys get it. We got a really, really big challenge this week versus a good football team in their building.
Okay, thanks.
Tom Withers, your line's open.
Thanks, Rob. Hey, Coach. You praised Baker the other week about being a tough critic, a tough self-analyzer, if you will. Is there a fine line, though, Kevin, between a guy being tough on himself and having the ability to kind of shake off a bad play or a bad game and move forward?
Yeah, I think all of our players, Tom, it's an occupational hazard that you're going to get beat, whether you're an offensive lineman or a defensive back or the quarterback. That's just kind of how it goes, and it's how you respond to those plays. What we like to do is learn from any mistakes we make, and then you really do have to move on. It's just the next play is coming.
And Baker's a big boy, and he's obviously been in the spotlight for a long time in his career. But do you worry at all? There's been a lot of external heat, national criticism of him. Do you worry at all about that taking a toll on not only Baker but any player?
No, I don't.
Next time we'll go to Jake Trotter.
Yeah, hey Kevin. Odell is on pace for career lows in several categories: targets, receptions, receiving yards. How do you balance that, manage that with maximizing a player like that while also keeping in mind that you do lead the league in rushing? Is that something you pay attention to? And the other thing is he's not getting a lot of yards after the catch right now. How do you unlock a little bit of that? Similar to what we kind of saw in the Dallas game.
Yeah, you said it. There's always things that we can do better. We can design better plays. Just the rhythm of how we call them. I've said it before. It's no mystery. He's a big part of our success. So our success, winning ball games, he's gonna be a big part of it. And I hope that includes individual success. Obviously, for him, for all of our players, I want them all to have individual success. But number one is the team success. And obviously, he goes a very, very long way in our success.
Thanks, Jake. Next up is George Thomas.
Hey, Coach, I was just wondering, are you seeing a difference in the way those wide receivers are playing, in particular T. Higgins and Boyd?
Yeah, I don't know if I see a difference, George. I think they're really good players. I mean, T. Higgins had a great game the other day. Boyd is a guy that's always produced. And then you got A.J. Green, which, ball's in the air and you hold your breath because he's gone up and gotten it many times. And then he's a very talented player. So they got a lot of weapons over there, and we got to be about our business, try and slow them down.